What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Adventures with Afterthought. This time we head to Fort Wayne, Indiana for a festival that we played called Electric Spring. A lot of wild stuff happened during this one. It's not the longest of stories, but I still wanted to tell it so you got the experience to see the crap that I go through when I'm on the road. Make sure you go down, hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, share this with everybody that you know. I'm gonna keep bothering you until you do. Comment, I'll reply, all that good stuff. Let's get to it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Adventures with Afterthought. This time we're headed to Fort Wayne, Indiana, where we played a festival called Electric Spring. Before we do, go down there, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, share it with everybody you know, and we're off to the adventure. We start in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm with my homie Greg. He goes by Complex. He's a rapper, a musician, a little artist. He does all kinds of stuff. Go check him out. We're packing our bag. We're getting everything ready. We have a big Suburban. We're headed out to Fort Wayne, Indiana. We had never been there before, so we're excited. It's supposed to be this big, crazy festival type show with a little bit of EDM, a little bit of hip hop, a lot of stuff going on. Electric Spring. It's gonna be fire. I'm excited. We get in the car, we start heading out, we stop for our usual stuff. Anytime that I go out of town, especially when we're in the car, we always gotta stop for snacks. We always got to stop for snacks. There's no time when you don't have to stop for snacks. If you're like me and you always stop for snacks on a road trip, go down in the comments and make sure you tell me what kind of snacks you get, because I wanna know all the snacks. I always want new snacks. So put it down there, I'll comment my snacks and we'll figure it out together. Anyway, we stop, we load up on hella snacks. Reese's, little peanut butter cups, I get those. Little protein bars too, the Cliff Bars, tons of Cliff Bars. So I was basically DJing the show with another artist, and then I had my own set as well. And I was actually gonna bring Greg out to do like a song or two in the middle of my set. Like 10,000 people are supposed to be there. I wanna hook my homie up. I want him to experience this with me. So I bring him along with it, and that's the game plan. We're going over everything on the car. We have my homie Dan Kelly. If you've listened to all the other story times, you know all about Dan Kelly. He was my videographer, photographer for a couple years. He's one of my close friends. Shout out to him. He had his drone, he had his camera gear. Everything was all planned out. It was gonna be epic. Pull into Fort Wayne, Indiana. As soon as we get there, we get to the hotel, check in, everything is cool. I get a call from the promoter. Promoter's like, hey man, I know an owner of a restaurant in town that's really, really good, and they would love to have you guys for dinner tonight. We'll take care of it. We'd love to have you. We just got off this drive. I'm starving.
Yes! That's awesome!
Of course we'll go to this restaurant and eat free food. I would love to. We hop in the car, head over to this restaurant, and this restaurant is fire. You know, as soon as you walk in the restaurant, you know this place is fire. I knew. I was like, okay, cool. We're somewhere good.
Oh, you think you're fancy? Then how many forks on the table at a formal setting? Oh,
3?
Not so fancy.
So we're walking in, we go in, they bring us, we walk through the whole restaurant. There's people, you know, enjoying their meals, crazy food. You know when you're in a restaurant and you're walking through and you've never been there before and you don't know their menu, so on the way to your seat, you're kind of like peeping everybody else's food just to be like, what's that? What's that? Oh, cool. They got the meatballs. You see the meatballs? And you're like, oh, okay, cool. If you've ever done that, put it down in the comments when you peep. Because I've gone so many places where I just peep other people's food and I already know what I'm gonna get before I sit down, and it turns out to be fire. There's definitely other times that it's failed miserably, but that's beside the point. Anyway, we walk past all this stuff, we go through to the very back, and there's this big open glass wall. And it's a room behind this glass wall, and we go in, big, beautiful table just laid out, ready to go for a bunch of guests. There's like 3 of us. So again, this is like a big table with a bunch of different places on it, and there's only like 3 or 4 of us. So there was a lot more places than there were people, so we just kind of spread out.
I want to talk about a phrase I heard recently, man-spreading.
We didn't really sit right next to each other, right? So we're expecting just to, you know, go on with dinner. The promoter sits down, and then all of a sudden, like 3 or 4 other people just walk in the room, and they come and they sit down at the table with us.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
And we don't know them, and we're spread out from each other, so these people are now sitting next to us, in between us. And it's just kind of awkward for a moment, because we're just like, You're sitting at dinner and all people that you don't know just come and sit next to you. It's just not really the normalest thing to do. It was a little awkward. So I was just kind of like peeping, waiting for someone to say something like, what's going on here? Finally, the promoter's like, oh, these are my business partners. They're part of their show, blah, 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 blah. Introduce us to everybody and it makes a lot more sense. But I'm still like, this is so weird. My friends are separated from me, but whatever. Anyway, we get to dinner. It was amazing. They kept bringing out these dishes. I didn't even get a chance to order anything because they just kept bringing out food and it was epic. Like it was just so fire. I remember they had these raviolis that were dripped in like this Alfredo sauce and they had this crazy cheese in it with a truffle sauce. Oh, the truffles.
First you gotta do the truffle shuffle. Come on! Do it!
I remember it was so good. But anyway, we get through dinner, everything was cool, drank some wine, had some good times, talked to these people, got to meet some amazing people, and also gives you a little bit of peace of mind. Because sometimes when you go to shows and you meet promoters, some of them aren't really all that cool. So you're kind of taking a chance if you take them up on like going to hang out or going somewhere to eat or whatever. These guys were awesome. We go to our hotel, we kind of hang out for the night. We game plan, get ready for the next day. This is what we're gonna do. I get my set together, everything's cool, we go to sleep. Next morning, we wake up, as usual, show day. I'm super hyped, I'm ready to go. We kind of start our morning out, planning, talking. We meet the other artists that we're gonna be doing the show with. We're off to the races. We head out to the venue. It's like this big open amphitheater type structure. It's a park, but the park has a big, huge overhang over the whole park and like this field. It just has this whole thing over it. So if it rained or anything like that, it was still cool. It was under this thing, but it was like a full-blown park that normally wouldn't be under anything. It was just kind of a sight to see to begin with. So past that was a big, huge, massive stage and it was festival style. Big screens up on the back, big screens on the bottom, little DJ area and the stage in the front, and then there was a little bit of space and then there was gates. There was just tons of gates that were like fence gates. Don't forget about these fence gates because it'll come back later in the story, so just remember these gates.
Don't forget scumbag.
Stage, open area, gates, then the fans, the whole crowd, right? So just remember. So we get there. When we go, they bring us to a little area and it's our green room. And the green room's a little building. It's just a straight up little building at this park, has a bathroom in it, and they set up some chairs and random stuff in there. So we head into the green room. There's nobody in there. We're the only ones there. So we're like, cool, we're comfortable. We put all of our stuff down. We have, our computers and all that stuff. So we just kind of put them off to the side. I go out, I kind of look around, check out the scene. I go up on stage, I'm looking out. There's this big, crazy open area. You could tell this is gonna be dope. You see all the lighting and the production, and you instantly, when you go to like a festival as an artist or a manager or anything on that side, when you get to a show or you get to a festival, you pretty much know within the first 10 minutes how generally it's gonna go. Are these people super professional? Is it kind of just a bunch of people thrown together? However it's gonna be, you kind of know how it's gonna be right off the bat. This time was one of the times where I felt comfortable. I was like, I see the equipment that you're using. I see how they're communicating to each other. This is gonna be cool. Introduce myself. They're equally as cool when we meet. I go, I set up my stuff, I do a little sound check, everything's already on point. It was such an easy sound check. They have my lighting ready, they have our logos ready, everything is good to go. I feel great about it, I'm excited, everything's good to go. About 2 hours later, it's showtime. All of these people have now packed into this big park. There's probably 10,000 people there and it is slam packed. I play, and then the artist that I'm there with that I'm gonna spin for is headlining after me. So we're the last two. So I'm just super excited. I'm getting ready for my set. I walk outside, I go back up to the stage, I look back out there, I throw my computer to the side. It's still completely jam-packed. Dan comes back over, he's like, man, I flew the drone already and went out there. The crowd goes forever, the lighting's crazy. This is gonna be so dope, right? So I'm like, all right, cool, let's do this. I'm just ready. I walk back to the green room, which is the little building behind the stage. And when I go in there, now there's like 20 people in there. Just a bunch of random people that we don't know. The other artist that I'm with is in there. He's kind of looking around. I'm kind of feeling weird about my stuff being in there now. So I'm just like, man.
I got a bad feeling on this one.
Wait, like how?
I got a bad feeling on this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay in there as long as I possibly can before I start my set, just so I can be there with my stuff at the very least before I can get the promoter or someone to kick him out, right? So I'm waiting, I'm ready to go to do my set. I'm about to walk out the door. And I look back, I'm like, you guys ready to go? Let's head out there. As soon as I take one step towards the door, I hear boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden, I hear all this screaming and yelling, and you can tell that there's people running. Like, you could just hear the footsteps, and people just, there's a voice here, and then it's here, and then it's here, and you could just tell something crazy is going on, and now someone's beating on the door, boom, 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 boom. And I froze. I'm like, what's happening? What possibly could be happening? I'm about to go do my set. We're right here. I'm walking outside. So now I start to kind of not panic, but I'm just kind of looking around. I'm like, we need to figure out what's going on. These people, so now all the other people in the room start backing up away from the door because someone's froze. Let us in, let us in. And we hear all this screaming. And so nobody wants to let these people in. We have is there zombies?
Are you getting this?
Yeah, what is up? What?
I don't know. I'm not letting these people in. They're beating on the doors, screaming to let them in, and we can't see anything that's going on, and we're in this building? No. Sorry. Any other time, if I could see the situation and I could help somebody, sure. When I have no idea what's going on, and there could be zombie apocalypse, World War III, terrorist attack, coronavirus, I'm not letting you into our building.
Not today.
I'm sorry, you're not coming inside. It's just a fact. So they keep beating, they keep beating, they keep beating. This goes on for like 30 seconds. It felt like 2 hours, but it was probably like 30 seconds. All of a sudden, the door flies open. Boom! Hits the side of the wall, flies open. All of these people literally fall inside to the room. They fall. Boom! Like 10, 15 people fall in, and they all start running in, and we're like, hell no. So we go, and we're shutting the door back. So all these people made it in, but we shut the door, and we're just looking. They're all freaking out. We're like, what is going on? They're like, someone's out there shooting. There was gunshots. Someone was shooting. And we're just looking at each other like, what? Like, this is something that you read about and you see about, but it's not something that I typically have to deal with or ever want to be a part of. And so it scared me. I was like, they're out there shooting at a festival? So I'm like, man, this is obviously not a good situation. So we're all kind of freaked out at this point, and we just want to stay there and wait until something happens. So someone gets us, whatever. So we're kind of huddled over in the corner. Everybody's away from the door. And then all of a sudden, someone comes up and starts beating on the door again. And we all dead looked at each other again, and we're like, nobody is getting in this time. We're propping it shut. Whatever we got to do, this is not happening again. Like, no. Guns, shootings at a festival, we're staying in here. You stay out there.
Hey, Gator don't play no shit. You feel me? Gator never been about that. Never been about playing no shit.
Finally, we realize it's like security and the police. We're kind of trying to still look through the door to make sure it's security and the police. We have no idea what's happening. We just want to get out of there. So finally, we open the door. It's the police and security, thankfully. They come in. They make sure everybody's cool. They're like, oh, you know, what's going on, blah, blah. They were shooting. And we go outside, and when we walked outside, there was nobody there. Everybody left. Everybody's scattered. They were gone. As soon as the gunshots, everybody's gone. We're just like, okay, I guess that's it. You know, this is done. Obviously, the show's over. I start walking up to the stage to go get my stuff. The other guys start kind of gathering our belongings in the green room. And the promoter comes up to me and he's like, hey, man, listen. There was no gunshots. What happened was, it was a windy day. I forgot to mention earlier, it was a bit of a windy day, and those gates that were on the front, in front of the fans, in front of the stage, those gates were there, and they were kind of swinging, and one of them got delatched and fell over, and since it was so heavy, it made a big loud bang, a big crash, and someone thought it was a gunshot and screamed, gun! They're shooting! And the whole 10,000 people scattered. They were gone. People running this way, people running that way, people running in the green room. They were gone, right?
They heard gunshots and started a stampede. They say several people were injured while running away from what they thought were gunshots yesterday afternoon. One man says he was told the noise was actually a crash as some metal gates came down.
The promoter's explaining this to me, and I'm looking and I'm like, a gate made a noise that scattered this many people? And he's like, yeah, man, that's what happened. The police went around, like, they all figured out what was going on. Finally, it calmed down. The promoter's like, hey, man, we still would like you to perform.
Excuse me?
We know that this is a crazy situation. We know that you could say no right now, but we would still like for you to perform. And I'm kind of looking at the guy like, who do you want me to perform to? The cleaning crew? You know, like everybody's gone. And he's like, look, we have people going around telling everybody it's safe to come back. They're on megaphones and they're telling everybody to come back. And I'm kind of still like, 10,000 people just scattered for their lives. I'm not sure that these people are all gonna come back, but I mean, you know what? You're very sincere. You took us out to dinner. You're a good dude. I'll still do the show.
You got that thing on you.
Alright, B, we got that scrap on you. What up, so?
Alright, I'm with you.
Alright, bro.
The other artist is down. I'm gonna ask him. I'm sure he'll still do the show if I do it. So let's just try to make the best of it. He's like, cool. Go back to the green room, get yourself a drink, give us like 15, 20 minutes, get some people back in here, and then we'll get this started back up again. And when I walk back in the green room, I'll never forget my friend Greg's face.
2009.
His face, he had such a look of defeat on his face. It was gonna be the biggest show that he had ever done, by far the most amount of people that he ever performed in front of. And he was so excited to do this. And I was excited for him. I felt his energy and I knew the feeling. I knew it. And it got ripped away from him by a gate, by a metal gate, ripped away the biggest show of his life. And I felt so bad and I could see in his face. So I tell him, we're still performing.
Yeah! This is the best achievement of my life!
And he gets a little smile on his face and he's like, we're still performing. And I'm like, yeah, it's all good. We're still performing. So I give him some hope. The worst thing I could have done. I didn't know looking at it at the time, but it was the worst thing I could have said. Because 5 minutes later, we walk out on the stage. There's like 500 people out there. So there's a whole huge crowd of 10,000 people before when I'm about to walk out, and now we go out and there's like 500 people there. And in this space, 500 people, boy, it might as well have been 5 people. It was just not a good look, but I was gonna go play regardless, and he was determined to play anyway, so we just walked out there, heads held high, and we were like, wow, that was crazy, huh? You know, like, what do you say? So I went out, did the set, he did his songs, he did really well, he still crushed it, he still made fans and had a good time, I still had a good time, the other artists still came out, people started coming back in, so maybe at the end there might have been 2,000 people there, so it wasn't totally a huge complete loss, but boy, it was so much worse than what it could have been. I'm just happy it was safe. There was no actual shooting. Nobody got hurt. That's all I really cared about. So anything past that was cool. We still had fun. It was a good time. It was an experience, and we got to tell about it on Adventures with Afterthought. So again, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Tell all your friends about this. Share it with everyone, and make sure you come back every time you see us post one. I still have pictures from it all too. You can check out a couple right here if they put them there.
Like, we won't put them there.
Real quick, I need somebody to take it.
I still have pictures of how happy he was on stage still. I also still have a picture of what it looked like before we went on. You can check it out. It was so packed. I have pictures of it.
This dude. How many pictures you got?
Go to Craig. Craig knows where it's at. He might have been involved in some shady drug, sex trafficking stuff, but that was in the past. Just don't fuck with Angie. Make sure you go down there, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share it with all of your friends, tell everybody about it. Make sure you go down there, hit that.
There you go.
I've never been to Fort Wayne, Indiana before this. I've heard of Fort Wayne, Indiana, but like not on some. I don't want to just crush Fort Wayne, Indiana. Make sure you go down there, hit that. Make sure you go down there. Make sure you go down there.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Take 73.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Adventures with Afterthought. While we're here, I just want you guys to make sure you head to blazysusan.com and check out my signature line of par 3 cones. It's not coming into frame there because someone doesn't know how to set the camera right.
He doesn't have a servo AF.
He doesn't know. He's got a Sony.
Put in this?
I know you guys can't even see that, but they're par 3s. They're at blazysusan.com.
Here, go
Sony.
to this camera.
I'm just kidding. Well, yeah, fuck Sony. I have a PS. You know what? Let's talk about some stuff. I have a PS5. There's no fucking games out for it. There's no games out for it, and you wouldn't let me switch my PlayStation Network ID, so I didn't even get my old game. So I have nothing. I have Astro Playland.
Who you got a